find something to wear that gives the illusion I don't care when the truth is I tried on 4 different pairs of pants. I tried the overpriced skincare routine. They got me in my insecurity. I think I'll die. I try hard.
On the move. On the move. Making it illegal U-turn on the move. Blind turn. Oh, accomplished. My car is dying. I just got it looked at yesterday. It's the transmission. They want over $4,000 to fix it, and unfortunately, my little cute, lovely Chevy Spark is not worth $4,500. So I will be selling this car and getting a new one, but that's not the reason why I gathered you all around for another spectacular episode. No, I just wanted to touch base with you guys and with just like I'm approaching this episode with just an inkling of a feeling. And in the last 24 hours, I would say probably 18 hours, I've been having kind of a sleepless experience. I was looking at different artists and sculptors on Instagram, and I was listening to podcasts about authors and writers, and I was just soaking up inspiration. You know, I was looking at painters, and I was looking at work that inspires me. This weekend marks a big advent on my calendar. It's the memorial that we're having for my aunt who passed from Alzheimer's recently. And she inspired me in so many ways. And I'm trying to, figure out, I would like to say something. I would like to get up in front of my family and say something about my Aunt Liz. So I climbed to the top of a mountain barefoot, and I had this absurd experience just now where sometimes the wind in LA just whips through. I don't know if it's the Santa Anas or what, but every now and then you get this high wind, and it just cleans every pore in your body. If you go out in this high wind, it blows right through you. It blows right through you. I don't know if you've had that experience. And in LA, you got these absurdly tall palm trees that are just leaning. They're leaning over in this wind, and palm fronds, rain down from, like 4 stories up, and just smack. You're it's like one of those disaster movies. You're weaving, trying to avoid these massive objects on this wind-blown street. And I'm driving around in a car that's like lurching because the transmission is failing, and I'm lurching through life on this almost like post-apocalyptic You know, when nature stands up in the room and says, "You will now hear me roar." Things, you know, in society, they look so fragile in comparison to the sheer power. And you get this, you know, it looks like, you know, like the Old West, this, you know, like leaves are blowing in little circles around. And this dust-blown street looks like it's going to be the location of a just incredible shootout between two mythical characters. And I feel like this marks... This is a mark in the calendar, people. This is the birth of a new era. This is... Enough is enough. You know, there were chemtrails all up and down the sky. It's fucking blue right now. Pun intended, it blew. Blew so hard now that it's all you see is the color blue. And we're moving out of this duality. We're moving out of this good and evil battle because it's just so shallow. And it's just so... We're seeing through the psyop. And evolutionarily speaking, it's the dawning of a new era. You know, I listened to this one woman who does these sort of guided meditations, and she calls it quadrality. We're entering into a time of quadrality. Duality is the thing of the past. And you can't stop people from evolving and purifying and growing and expanding. We see through the veil, people. We see all the way through the images presented to us. So I'm challenging you all to drop the positive, negative, black, white, good, bad. You know, God, Satan, hell, heaven. And remember, you have choices. And as this complicated world we live in expands, it will make room for new modalities. So, in that spirit, I'm going to embark here on another episode, On the Move. Oh my God, the mountains look so pretty. Jesus. All the snow has melted from the peaks of the San Gabriels. There's just a little light dusting where there was once these big white caps. You know, and I don't know what kind of engineered snow got dumped. You know what I mean? I don't know. One doesn't know these days what's in their food, what's in their water, what's in the air. You know, you can research up and down, but it's all hearsay unless you're, you know, doing the lab work yourself. And even then, it's science, right? It doesn't account for consciousness. It doesn't account for magic. It doesn't account for the nuance of nature. You know, I forget the Japanese scientist that did the whole thing about water. You know, water has memory. Water has consciousness. We are water beings. You know, we live on a water planet. You know, the minerals and the water create a synthesis of light conscious memory energy. And it's so fascinating to see these experiments people are doing with water and ice. People are introducing images to the water or intentions to the water, and then freezing the water, and then seeing the crystalline shapes and structures that get imprinted. And it shows that our primordial roots, our human memories, are all in the water. And, as we are born and live and die, the water evaporates. The water's always the water, and the water always goes back to the water. Whether it goes into the ground or into the air or into the oceans, our water gets back into the cycle. And there's no loss of H2O. It's just always there in one of its four states. Water can be a solid, a gas, a liquid, or a plasma. And the fourth state of water is where we're going. We're crystalline plasma beings. We're pure light and consciousness. And whether we forget or we remember, the gifts keep pouring in. So I'm just trying to saturate myself with inspiration these days. And I'm feeling mighty. I feel like one of the mighty warriors. I wrote this pilot, I wrote this season 1 arc, I wrote these character bios, I wrote this giant world, and I pitched it, and I'm really proud of it. And it was not easy to dig that out of my soul. Me and my co-writer Kristen English wrote this from the depths of our being, and it's got the stardust of our eternal heritage. It has the darkness and the light. It has the primordial and immortal vampiric black oily goo all over it. It's got the atomic plasmic crystalline light of a kyber, activated. It's got drama and force and conflict, and it has this hope and romance and love, because that's who we are. We are advanced creatures, and this is our home. And the water within us, that's our wisdom. So, embrace it, use it, understand it. Embody it. We are fluid beings of liquid light. And we have a wise, deep well of information at our fingertips. The unending wealth of water flows through us. It informs us. It heals us completely. And we need to be healed and reinforced. And we need to go through this rebirth. You know, it's because the days ahead are going to be intense. And if we're not fluid and improvisational and patient, we're going to eat each other. You know, because that's how the other source, the parasites, have trained us to be like them. They want us to be vampires. They want us to be eating one another for fuel. And that's just not who we are. We don't need all of that paradigm anymore. And you know inside yourself that it has died. You know, the food pyramid is upside down. The values of the past civilization need to be reinvented for this time. And we are embarking upon the new age. So buckle up, people. Get on board. You know, because their alternative is not going to be nice. What are they offering? They want to displace all our jobs. They want to feed us like the oily goop of our ancestors. And they want us to be digital slaves. Part of the Borg. Part of the mind virus. You know, they want us to be hollow, empty vessels for them to inhabit because they're jealous. But we're going to cut wood and carry water. That's what we're going to do. We're going to strap on our big boy boots, you know, with the copper soles. And we're going to transmute the Agenda 2030, if you know what I mean. We're transmuting it real time right now. So that's the theme of today's episode. Deal with it. I invite you all to read good books, write good books, make beautiful films, inhabit your deep inner truth. You are a Jedi Master. And you have just constructed the hilt of a beautiful lightsaber made of gold. Spark that baby up, because training day is over. On the move.